Aloha. This is Full Contact Hawaii Backstage. This is a brand new segment where we will catch up with some of the fighters on our roster. Sometimes these interviews will take place at different times, maybe after a fight, after a weigh-in, or maybe when after the fighters are just walking around the venue after media obligations. Joining me today is three-time world champion in pro wrestling and MMA newcomer Joshua, the Harbinger of Violence Black. How's it going, brother?
It's going pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good, thank you. So, first question is the obvious. Why the transition from pro wrestling to mixed martial arts?
Well, when you have a career as decorated as mine, I feel like I've conquered every mountain that I could in pro wrestling. So I wanted to do something a little bit more exciting, just to see, just to have some more competition. I was a pretty decorated amateur wrestler when I was younger, so I figured, why not try it? Besides, it was an okay payday.
Nice. That kind of leads me into my second question is what combat sport background you have. You said you have an amateur record, and is that just in high school? Did you go collegiate with it? How far did you go with that?
Yeah, I wrestled in high school. In high school, up in Canada, I was a national wrestling champion in high school, and at the college level, I was a state wrestler, or provincial wrestling champion.
Nice. So you're not just coming in with just an idea of it. You actually have real combat sport background.
Yeah, I was decorated in amateur wrestling before I had, which actually had helped me launch my pro wrestling career as well. But I'm hoping I didn't get too rusty, and I didn't forget too much as I come into MMA here. But as you could see from my last fight, I didn't do too bad.
Yeah, you couldn't stop your takedowns, and you weren't just going for single legs. You're going low crotch, knee taps. Like he looked clearly confused because you had a lot of weapons to use with your takedowns.
Yeah, well, when you for your first fight, you ain't gonna wanna rely on one weapon, you know. Despite me being a world-class athlete, uh, I would be lying if I said I wasn't nervous going into the fight. So I wanted to make sure that I had all my bases covered before I came into this.
Understandable, like because he was talking his smack. He was comparing you to a CM Punk. You know how we all saw that happen with him and Mickey Gall. He looked past you because he thought, hey, I'm a 4-1 record guy. This guy's coming in with quote unquote fake fighting, which I don't believe at all. How good was the feeling to actually dominate him in that fashion and not just beat him, but actually make him tap?
Um, it felt good, not gonna lie, but it was less to do with anything that he had said, uh, and more to do with the satisfaction of putting in the hard work and coming out with a win in my first fight. As far as his smack talk goes, that didn't faze me at all. In pro wrestling, half the game is talking that shit, so it wasn't anything I wasn't used to. Um, but as far as his comments comparing me to CM Punk, well, yeah, CM Punk is one of the all-time greats in my former profession, but by the time he was in MMA, he was in his late 30s. He had no combat sports background, and frankly, he was just untalented. And I'm not no fucking CM. I'm not. Excuse me. I'm sorry. We're not supposed to swear on this, right?
Oh, good. We're
Uh,
all adults here.
uh, yeah.
Well, at least you proved
Yeah.
you're doing better than him already. You already got your first win. You're 1-0, undefeated, 100% finish rate so far.
So far, but I'm looking to continue that winning streak here. I see that my old buddy or rival, uh, Gonzo. He's here too, eh? And
Yeah, yeah, Nick Thatcher. Yeah, he just won on the same card as you as well.
yeah, same kind of fashion too. First round submission. Me and him used to roll around on the mats back in the day, and I ain't scared to say that most of those times I was the one getting up the upper hand. So, but all the best of luck to him on his title fight coming up here. But I do hope he wins, because if he wins, then that's a guaranteed championship belt for me.
Yeah, that we'll actually get back to that topic in a little bit because that kind of leads up to some other questions I have. But first, I want to know like how was your first pro camp? Because I know it's different when you're pro wrestling. You're always on the road. You're always traveling. So you don't really get that time to train twice a day, 5, 6 days a week. You know, you got to kind of do it in between your shows because pro wrestlers, they're way more busier than mixed martial artists, you know, because you guys are constantly traveling. So how was your first pro camp compared to when you're on the road as a pro wrestler?
Well, I wouldn't say it was easier, and I wouldn't exactly say it was more difficult than training for pro wrestling. The thing with pro wrestling is, well, first of all, I was training for different things, right? I was training, getting into the ring and making sure I purposely wasn't hurting anybody. And I was training, weight training for bulk, right? Because you got to look good for the camera. But in this camp, it was a big difference because, first of all, I was doing a lot of the old drills that I used to do in high school and college, but a lot of it was actually cutting weight. Back in my career in pro wrestling, I was around 230, 235. I had to trim down that weight quite a bit to make it in the division, but I do feel quite a bit lighter, and I think that my speed, because of that, is going to help out a lot. But the camp, not gonna lie, it was kind of grueling, but just getting back into the swing of things, similar stuff to what I was doing in high school and college. But of course, I ain't just going to stick to my roots with wrestling, just like any fighter in MMA, especially these days. I'm gonna have to branch out, try new things. I'm looking at some boxing coaches. I'm looking at some jiu-jitsu coaches, some kickboxing. So don't be surprised if I pull out some different moves every fight.
Great, yeah, because even in your first fight, like you weren't a very it's like stand-up strike heavy style in that fight, but you were landing jabs, straights, overhands. So were you preparing just a little bit of stand-up during this camp just to kind of, you know, throw it off a bit, or just because, you know, you like it's mixed martial arts, so you can't really rely on the old days on just one style. You have to train all kinds of styles, you know what I mean? So did that kind of help how you performed in the fight?
Oh, it definitely did. And that was completely intentional. I knew going in, especially with his comments saying that I was just another CM Punk. Well, and even if he did read up on me and know about my wrestling background, he definitely was not expecting for me to pull out other techniques within the fight, right? I don't think anybody was expecting me to stand and bang with this guy, but I did enough to where I did okay, but I am definitely not anywhere near where I want to be. But yeah, I wanted to throw some other stuff in, just to throw him off a little bit coming into my first fight. You know, he's probably expecting me to just completely go for all wrestling, just constant takedowns and all that stuff. So I want to throw him off a little bit.
Understandable, and it worked out. You won. So, to get back to the other topic, you have a fight coming up against Egan Aoki. Egan Aoki lost the TKO to Dustin Garcia, who is fighting Nick Thatcher for the title. This match puts you and Egan in the position for who the winner gets the next shot. What are your thoughts on that? Like, how are you going to try and prepare for this opponent without giving any plans away?
Well, I'm going to prepare and continue my game plan. I have a long-term game plan for my moves here in Full Contact Hawaii, and I'm just going to stick to that game plan, and that game plan is keep everybody on their toes and make the unexpected happen. I'll put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Understandable. And we know that you and Nick Thatcher, or other known as Gonzo, you guys never had a chance to officially, go toe-to-toe with each other in the pro wrestling ring, correct?
I mean, we had always trained together. We came up in, being both Canadians, there's only so many pro wrestling schools up there. So we did definitely wrestle each other, and we did definitely train together. But as far as like on the big stages that I and Gonzo had been on, no, we had never went down. It never went down like that.
So like, if he won, then and if you won your fight, that would set up a match between you two, and I know you would want that match, correct?
Oh, definitely, definitely. And Gonzo, I'm not stupid. I know he's no slouch. He wouldn't have that title fight to begin with if he was. But I know him real well. And I've been following his career for a long time. And I think I got a game plan for how to pick him apart. No offense to Gonzo at all. We're still buddies, but business is business, and I'm going to get that champion's purse.
Nice. So, any last words, any last comments you want to leave to the fans or to any other fighter in the roster?
Well, to the fans, I definitely hope I don't end up like a CM Punk for all of the fans. I don't want to disappoint the fans in that way. That being said, though, I don't want to be handed anything like some other pro wrestlers, perhaps in larger promotions, were. That and you never know what you're going to get from me. So, yeah, I'm a wrestler, but don't let that sway your opinion. Watch and see what I can do. As far as every other member of the Full Contact Hawaii roster, you'll be surprised. And you're going to watch out.